And because I am poor and disrespected, I am going to keep destroying people's psyches in VR boxing until people both pay me and respect me. I have had enough of having limited opportunities and finances. I've had enough of being disrespected, and I am going to keep creating ticking time bombs in VR boxing by destroying people's psyches until I am respected and compensated fairly to where I don't have to work again. Because the only opportunities that I run into are ones where I am extremely disrespected and underpaid. And because I've been exchanging so much of my time, because the years have literally flown by, because I've had to trade my time for an unfair amount of pay, and because I've had to trade so much of my time for unfair compensation, I'm going to destroy as many humans' psyches as I can in VR boxing until people compensate me so much money that I never have to work again. I am going to destroy psyches, as many of them as I can, and I'm already 2,300 into doing so. But I'm going to continue to destroy people's psyches until I am compensated fairly. I have had enough of exchanging years of my life for not enough money. I have thoroughly had enough of it. I am thoroughly done with it. And until I am compensated fairly to where I do not have to continue to be unfairly compensated in exchange for so much of my time, until the numbers start adding up, and until the compensation that the world gives me starts looking fair to the degree that I never have to work again, I will destroy psyches in VR boxing. I will continue to destroy thousands of psyches in VR boxing because I've had enough of exchanging years of my life for not enough money to survive. I've had enough of being disrespected by the world, and I've had enough of the world committing crimes against me for merely being myself. I've had enough of being disrespected everywhere I go. I've had enough of people looking at me sideways everywhere I go while I'm not being compensated fairly in exchange for giving years of my life to operations that could give a fuck less about me. I've had enough of it, and I'm going to continue to destroy people's psyches and plague the VR boxing community, which does psychological damage to people in ways that they don't actually understand. I know you see the people, whether you admit it or not. I know you see the people throwing tantrums while I'm destroying them in VR boxing. That is their ego and self-esteem forever being shattered and changed by what I've done to them. Yeah, I don't know if you understand, but that is not regular gamer rage. That is not regular gamer rage. I've seen that in person. And if you've ever gone to combat sports tournaments, you've seen that in person. You've seen human beings throw literal tantrums like that in person when they lose in combat sports. I know you've seen it. If you've gone to any combat sports tournament or competition ever, and you've seen enough people lose, which happens every time a match happens, you've seen someone throw a tantrum exactly like that in real life while they're losing, if not have an outright violent outburst. So that is not merely gamer rage. That is people's self-esteem and egos being shattered and warped in a way that they will never recover from. They will never be the person they were before that moment or after. That is a person forever changing because their unconscious ego has been met with an argument that they cannot cope with. Okay, there's not a cope that you can come up with that your unconscious ego or your id will accept. Your id or your unconscious ego cannot come up with an argument, no matter how much of a narcissist you are, that will let you cope with what happens when you lose in combat sports. And I've done that to thousands of people because of the disrespect that you've done to me. I've done that to thousands of people. I don't think you understand unless you've actually been to a combat sports event, a duel, a match, a tournament, whatever it is, okay? Unless you've been there and you've seen people lose in person and you've seen the tantrums that people throw when they lose, then you'll understand. But until you go there and you see that in real life, you'll just think that that is gamer rage. You'll just think that that's a normal gamer tantrum that someone throws when they lose in a video game. But that is not the case. Those are two completely different things, and those are two completely different animals, okay? Because VR boxing taps into the feeling of committing actual violence, okay? The VR boxing, because you're controlling it with your actual hands, because you're actually exerting yourself, and because you're making the actual motions that you would make if you were competing in real life, you are tapping into psychological feelings that one actually gets when competing in real life in combat sports. So the tantrums that you are seeing people throw when they lose in VR boxings has more long-term psychological impact than losing in a regular video game does, okay? That taps into the feelings of inferiority that a person gets when they lose in actual violent acts, okay? That taps into the trauma that someone would feel if they have lost in actual violent acts in real life. So those are two completely different levels of rage and tantrums, and the lasting psychological impact is far different than that of losing in a regular video game, because you are tapping into actual feelings of competition. That is why when you see people lose to me in VR boxing, if you have actually been to any combat sport event, if you've actually been to tournaments in real life, those are the tantrums that people throw at actual tournaments in real life. Those are completely different animals. Those are tapping into trauma responses that people get when they lose in front of their teams or their coaches, their family, and spectators in real life. And if you think I'm lying, look up, I'm sure there's videos out there, look up videos of people throwing temper tantrums at wrestling events after they lose. That is the exact same type of temper tantrum that you see people throwing when they lose to me in VR boxing. And I've done that to thousands of people, and that has lasting effects on the ego and human psyche when people get to that state where they are throwing tantrums after they lose. That has lasting effects on people's ego, their id, their unconscious. That is not normal gamer rage. That is not the same thing as losing in Call of Duty. That is not the same thing as losing in esports. That is a completely different animal, because your ego cannot, every narcissistic part of your brain and your psychology is unable to come up with an argument or a cope that will let your ego recover from that. That is something that your ego, I don't know what the fuck that was for. That is something that your ego cannot recover from. That's something that your ego cannot recover from and never will. I hate to break it to you, but you are not the same person after that you were before. And it's not for the better. It's not for the better. You're going to doubt yourself for the rest of your life because your unconscious mind has changed. Your ego is literally not the same. Your unconscious mind is different, and you have been met with an argument that you cannot win from an unconscious standpoint. So what I'm saying is how narcissism works is your brain is always coming up with arguments as to why nothing is your fault, why everything is everyone else's fault, and why you're doing fine and awesome. Okay, that you're being a narcissist means your unconscious mind is always reassuring your conscious mind that nothing is your fault and that you're awesome at everything. So the temper tantrums that you see people throwing in VR boxing when they lose to me is akin to people losing in real life combat sports. And that means that their brain has not been able to, the narcissistic unconscious part of their mind has not been able to come up with an argument that reassures them of themselves. That is what you're witnessing. You are witnessing the mental breakdown of a narcissist ego. Okay? So that's a pretty powerful thing, if I don't say so myself. It's a pretty powerful thing. It's a pretty cool thing that I'm doing. And it's definitely superior to everything that you're doing. What I'm doing is awesome and powerful, and it is superior to everything that you're doing here, because what you witness when you witness people throwing temper tantrum when they lose to me in VR boxing is you are witnessing the mental breakdown of a narcissist. You are witnessing a narcissist being, you're witnessing a narcissist being met with an undeniable argument by me that the unconscious part of their brain cannot defeat. Okay, that's what you're witnessing when you see people throwing a tantrum against me in VR boxing, which is hilarious because we're not even able to hear what they're doing verbally, or like we're not even able to audibly hear what's going on. We're only able to see them. We're purely witnessing their body language, okay? When you see people throwing a tantrum when they lose to me in VR boxing, that's amazing because we're only seeing their body language. We're not even hearing what they're actually doing. We're not hearing how frustrated they actually are. So we're able to tell that with their body language alone. Okay, we're able to tell that with their body language alone, which is actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool and pretty powerful, what I'm doing. And what's it called? So yeah, we're witnessing the mental breakdown of narcissists when we see the people that I have defeated in VR boxing throw a temper tantrum with their body language. We are witnessing the mental breakdown of narcissists in real time, because I have made an argument to their unconscious mind, to their id or their ego, that neither their unconscious mind or their conscious mind can beat. I have made an undeniable argument to their unconscious mind and their conscious mind that they cannot beat unconsciously or consciously. And that's a pretty powerful thing. And that is why I do what you try to do better than what you do. Okay? That's why I do what you seek to do better than you can or will ever. Okay? I make arguments to narcissists that their brains cannot handle. I literally cause narcissists to have mental breakdowns. Hello. So, do we understand what I'm actually doing to people when I beat them in VR boxing now? Because that is something that merely beating people in video games cannot replicate. And I don't think you guys quite understand what I'm doing to people from a psychological standpoint. I don't think you understand that I am tapping into that same psychological trauma that losing in combat sports in real life does to people, which is a thing that simply defeating someone in a regular video game cannot replicate. Do we understand that now? There's not really anything quite like that as far as I'm aware. There's not a ton of things that replicate that as far as I'm aware. Now, you could say whatever you want to say, but it's something that is very easily missed and not appreciated unless you're paying attention. That's something that is easy to miss if you're not paying attention. I can tell you that at bare minimum. Now, I do that because every day of my life is as miserable can be. I do that because every day of my life is about as miserable can be. So why wouldn't I? I mean, if every day of my life is as miserable gets, why wouldn't I do this to as many people as I can with my free time. I mean, if you're going to ignore me, if you're going to disrespect me everywhere I go, and if you're going to underpay me everywhere I go, why wouldn't I just create thousands and thousands of ticking time bombs in ways that you never could, just by talking shit on the internet? I mean, what I do is leaps and bounds more psychologically damaging than anything that you think you're doing by talking to people over the internet, by digging up people's personal information. I mean, you're small potatoes compared to what I've done. If you took a month of me defeating people in VR boxing, that's done more to actually irreversibly harm people than decades of what you've done on the internet. Because I mean, look at Vegan Patriot. You haven't done anything to Vegan Patriot that her narcissism could not cope with. You haven't done a single thing to Vegan Patriot that her narcissism could not cope with. Whereas what I've done to thousands of people, okay, you haven't done what I've done to one person. You haven't done what I've done, and it takes me like 9 to 12 minutes. It takes me like 9 to 12 minutes to do what I do. And you haven't done what I've done to one person, and you've been spending decades trying to do what it takes me 9 to 12 minutes to do. It takes me 9 minutes to do what you have not been able to do in decades. So you think that you are powerful people. You think you're powerful people. You think that you've done all of this harm and damage and chaos to people. You haven't done it takes me 9 minutes to do what you failed to do in decades. It's taken me 9 minutes to do what you failed to do in decades. Now, what you're doing right now is your unconscious mind is coming up with all of these reasons as to why what I'm saying isn't true, and you are using your narcissism to try to validate yourself and to try to tell yourself you're in a sunk cost fallacy. You're in a sunk cost fallacy where you're going to continue putting resources in time into something that you know is not going to get you the desired result. You're coming up with all of these reasons as to why you need to continue to be a failure at what you're trying to do, when if one of you came and sparred me on stream, I would give you an undeniable argument that your mind would be unable to beat. Your mind and your unconscious mind, it doesn't matter how big of a narcissist you are, if you came and sparred me on stream, just like what I've done to 2,300 people already, and it only takes me 9 minutes to do what you failed to do in decades, if you came and sparred me on stream, I would do the same thing to you that I've done to the 2,300 people that you've witnessed me irreversibly psychologically harm on stream. And that is because my argument is an undeniable argument that your narcissism will never be able to beat. If you came and sparred me on stream, I would give you an argument that your narcissism would never be able to cope with. And that's what you're really afraid of. That's what you're really afraid of at the end of the day. More than anything, you're afraid of being met with an argument that your narcissism cannot beat. And I'm able to give you that argument. I'm able to give you the argument that your narcissism is not able to beat. And you're coping about it. You're coping about it, and you're seething because you've been rage baited. You've been rage baited. You've been trolled. You've been felted. And you can't cope. You can't cope about it because my argument is an argument that a narcissist id and unconscious mind is unable to cope with. And I've done it to 2,300 people, and I'm going to do it to more people. I'm going to do it to thousands and thousands more people. And every time you see them, every time you see their body language, you're going to know that I'm breaking a person who is psychologically just like you. I'm breaking someone who is as psychologically weak as you. I'm breaking someone who quits when their narcissistic ego and their unconscious mind is met with an argument that they can't beat. And I'm handing that argument out to thousands of people just like you. I'm breaking people just like you, and it doesn't take me decades to do it. You failed to break one person psychologically. You failed to break one person psychologically. I've broken thousands of people psychologically right in front of you that are mentally no different than you, because you're that easy to break. It's that easy to give your mind an argument that your unconscious mind can't beat. It's that easy to break you. It's that easy to break you. And I've done it to thousands of you. And I'm going to do it to thousands more of you. And that's why you've run from sparring me on stream. Because I have an argument that your id is incapable of beating right here. Right here and right here. Alright? These are the two arguments that your unconscious mind can't beat. These two arguments right here have broken more people like you than you ever will, because you haven't broken one person. And it only took me 9 minutes per person max. It takes me 9 minutes per person max, what you fail to do in decades. Don't you feel foolish? Don't you feel silly? Don't you feel a little ashamed that you failed to break one person? And even remotely the small amount of time that it takes me to break someone, you haven't even completed psychologically breaking someone. You haven't even completed psychologically breaking someone. And I have psychologically broken 2,300 people in the time that it's taken you to fail to psychologically break one person. Don't you feel silly? Don't you feel a little ashamed? Don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel a little ashamed at how impotent and inefficient you are? It takes me 9 minutes. It takes me 9 minutes to do what you can't do in decades. It takes me 9 minutes to do what you failed to do in years, because your strategy is inefficient and impotent. Your strategy is inefficient and impotent, and it takes me 9 minutes to do what you can't do in decades. Don't you feel a little stupid? Don't you feel a little silly? Don't you feel a little ashamed? I mean, how much resources do you have at your disposal? How many resources do you have at your disposal? And a guy like me can do in 9 minutes what you can't do in decades? You can't do in decades what I can do in 9 minutes. Doesn't that bother you? Doesn't that make you feel useless? You're probably one of the most useless types of human on earth. People like you. You're probably some of the most useless people on earth. I mean, to be so cowardly, to be so afraid of the police, to be so afraid of your owners, that you won't even touch one of them? You think you like harming people, you think you like laughing at people's expenses, but you won't touch the people that rule you unfairly and unjustly? You won't touch a single person that you claim to hate on the internet? You've failed to psychologically break a single human? Don't you feel a little stupid? Don't you feel a little weak? It takes me 9 minutes to do what you failed to do in decades. I mean, how useless of a human are you? How useless of a human are you? To where I can do in 9 minutes what you can't do in decades. You claim that you like harming people. You claim that you like laughing at people's expenses. What have you ever done in real life? What have you ever done in real life to a single person that you claim you have a problem with over the internet? What have you ever done in real life to a single person that you claim to have a problem with over the internet? I've done definitively what I said I would do to you, to thousands of people like you. I've done definitively what I said I would do to you, to thousands of people just like you. Sometimes it takes me less than a minute. It takes me less than a minute to incapacitate a person that's psychologically just like you. Doesn't that make you feel useless? That would make me feel useless. I feel a lot more useful than someone like you. I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm more of a worthwhile person. I feel like my life is worth more than yours. I feel like my life is worth more than every single person like you combined. I feel like my life has more value than you and every single person like you on earth. And I feel like I've proven that. I think I've definitively proven that my life has more value than yours, because I can beat thousands of people that are as mentally weak as you, definitively, in a way that your ego can't deny. Your ego can't even deny that I'm better than you when I beat you. You have violent outbursts, and you can't even contain your emotions through your body language. I'm not even able to hear what you're actually saying or the noises that you're actually making. I'm not even able to hear how frustrated you are. I can tell from your body language alone, after I beat someone like you definitively in a way that your ego can't deny, that I've psychologically broken you, sometimes in under a minute. Sometimes in under a minute, I make an argument that your ego can't even deny, to the point that your body language can't even contain your actual emotions. That's how much more useful I am than you. That's how much more value my life has than yours. My life is so much more valuable than yours that I can make an argument to your ego that your ego can't deny, sometimes in under a minute. Sometimes in under a minute, I can make an argument to a person like you's ego that your ego can't deny, in a way that will forever psychologically break you and change you as a person. And that's because my life is more valuable than yours. That's because I'm more worthwhile of a human than you. It's because I'm a better human than you. Morally, physically, mentally. You're a quitter. You quit. You give up. You break. You're fragile. Compared to someone like me, you're a quitter. Oh no, not AI. Hey, I got news for you. I got news for you. If you think technology was going to start and stop at your behest, if you thought technology was going to start and stop at your behest, what the hell did you think? What the hell did you see? You can't be ageist and then expect technology to start and stop at your behest simultaneously. Maybe that's a better way to put it. You look like an idiot calling me an old man. All right? You look like an idiot being on the side of people that say things like "you're old" as an insult to me, while simultaneously wanting technology to start and stop at your behest. The march of technology is not going to start and stop at your behest. Okay, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't live in world full of data centers and then say no one use AI because I don't like AI. I want to live in data center world. All right, I want to live in internet data center world where I can talk shit to anyone from anywhere in the world and then expect no repercussions and then expect people to stop using AI because you want to feel like you're talented. Okay? You can't expect people to not flood social media with AI generated things when you were okay with everything that led to AI existing in the first place, and you want to insult people for being old on top of it. Okay? If you want to insult people for being old, then guess what? The march of time's not going to stop for you either. We're not gonna stop the march of progress, as you call it. Okay, we're not gonna stop the march of progress because you want to feel talented and special on the internet. I hate to break it to you, but like, technology is not gonna stop developing because you feel like this new technological innovation makes you seem less talented. Okay? That's the unfortunate world you live in. You live in the unfortunate world where you didn't listen to old Uncle Ted. You didn't listen to old Uncle Ted K. You didn't listen to the old people telling you stop using the internet if you want to have privacy. You remember all the old people that told you to not use the internet if you want privacy? Remember that? Well, guess what? You didn't listen. You let the march of progress continue, and technology is not going to start and stop at your behest, okay? You were okay. You're clearly okay with social media. You're clearly okay with everything that was going on in the world before AI. You were clearly okay with all of the mass harassment that was going on because of social media and the new technological innovations that happened before your generation. And now because there's a technological innovation that meshes with your idea of what the world should be, because you're getting old, and the world's changing now. So because now that you're getting old and the world's turning into something that you don't recognize, you want all of us to stop using the new technology because you feel like it's cutting into your bottom line now. You feel like it's cutting into your bottom line of the way you think the world should be. So now because people are using AI to make you feel not special and talented, you want the march of progress in technology to stop now all of a sudden, right? Now you want the world to change because there's been a technological innovation that doesn't make you feel special and talented and make you feel like you fit in. Well, guess what? Technology doesn't start and stop at your behest. What, do my AI shorts not make you feel special and talented? Do my AI shorts not make you feel special and talented? Where were you when I was displaying my talents and skills? Were you giving me external validation and the proper credit when I was displaying my talents? Where were you when I was displaying my talents for hundreds of hours while no one was paying attention? And you want me to stop using AI? You want me to stop using AI, but the algorithm that you were okay with made my talents unrecognized and buried. So you were okay with using something that was making me unequal, that was causing inequality for me. You were okay with using an algorithm that was fucking me over. You were okay with using an algorithm that was burying me, and you want me to change for you now because something's cutting into your bottom line. You want me to change because something was cutting into your bottom line when you were okay with the things that be crushing me. You were okay with the things that be crushing me. You were okay with my talents being ignored. You were okay with me going unrecognized, but you want me to change for you. You want me to change because you think AI is cutting into your bottom line when you were ignoring all of the hours that I was displaying my talents. Where were you? Where were you all the hundreds of hours that I was streaming me having the most VR boxing wins? Where were you when that was happening? But you want me to not use AI because you think AI is cutting in to your animations not being seen. You think my AI is cutting into the reach of your YouTube shorts? You think my AI generated stuff is cutting into the reach of your YouTube shorts, but where were you? Where were you when I was showing myself having the most VR boxing wins? Where were you when I was streaming myself having the most VR boxing wins? Were you anywhere to be found when I was streaming myself having the most VR boxing wins? Were you anywhere to be found when I was showing my talents and skills? So you were complicit. You were okay with the algorithm. You were okay with all the censorship. You were okay with everything that's unfair. You were okay with everything that was unfair about the internet before AI. But now you want me to not use AI because you think it's cutting into the reach of your YouTube shorts, but you were okay with me being censored and ignored and buried in the algorithm. You were okay with my talents not receiving external validation. You were okay with me being isolated, censored, othered by the algorithm and social media and the technocrats, and you want me to not use AI because you think AI is cutting into your bottom line in this technocrat hellscape. I got news for you. Technology doesn't start and stop at your behest. If you want to open Pandora's box, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. If you want to open Pandora's box and you want to live in a world where you can insult me from thousands of miles away and think that you have no repercussions, if you want to live in the world where your privacy is farmed for the fucking behest of capitalists, then guess what? When AI comes around and it cuts into your bottom line, I'm not going to stop using AI because you think AI is inconveniencing you. Hate to break it to you, but if you want to other me, if you want to not pay me enough money, if you want to isolate me, if you want to try to, violate my privacy, you want to try to harass me, you want to try to incite harassment mobs against me, using all this technology, and you think I'm gonna not use AI? You think I'm not gonna use AI because what? It inconveniences you. It cuts into the reach of your YouTube shorts. Tough titty. That's tough. That's unfortunate, but I'm not gonna stop using AI. That's unfortunate for you, but I'm not going to stop using AI. That's tough. You should have been nicer to me. You should have talked to me nice. And maybe I would have been more receptive to your message. But that's tough. I don't care if you think AI makes you look untalented. I don't care. Where were you when I had the most VR boxing wins? Where were you when I had the most VR boxing wins? You were nowhere to be found. You weren't anywhere to give me external validation when I was displaying my talent of having the most VR boxing wins. When I was displaying my talent of having the most VR boxing wins, you were okay with me being buried in the algorithm. You were okay with me being ignored, isolated, and harassed and stalked when I was displaying myself having the talent of having the most VR boxing wins. But guess what? I'm not going to stop using AI because you think my AI generated shorts cut into your ability to clip yourself playing Roblox and have that be seen. I don't care. I don't care if you think my YouTube shorts cut into your ability to be fake and gay in YouTube shorts. I don't fucking care. I don't care if you think my AI generated YouTube shorts cut into your ability to clip yourself at the fucking Chuckle Hut on Twitch and upload it to YouTube. I don't care. Because you were nowhere to be found when I was displaying myself having the most VR boxing wins. When I was nowhere to be found while I was displaying myself, when you were nowhere to be found while I was displaying myself having the most VR boxing wins, all of this wasn't anything to be concerned about for you. When I was displaying myself having the most VR boxing wins, you were okay with the status quo. You were okay with everything that's wrong with the status quo in social media, so long as your YouTube shorts were seen. So long as your YouTube shorts were seen, you were okay with everything that was wrong with the algorithm, with social media, with the way people behave because of social media. You were okay with all that before AI. But as soon as AI and my AI generated YouTube shorts cut into your ability to be a flagrant asshole on the internet and have that be seen, all of a sudden you don't want me to use AI. But I don't fucking care. You want to know why? Because you never supported a fucking thing I did on the internet. You never supported a fucking thing I did on the internet, and you've never supported anything I fucking do in real life. So I don't fucking care if my AI generated YouTube shorts cut into your bottom line on YouTube. I don't fucking care. That's a good thing in my opinion. Technology doesn't start and stop at your behest. Technology doesn't start and stop at your behest, you fucking idiot. I hate to break it to you, but technology doesn't start and stop at your best. So I'm going to keep uploading AI generated YouTube shorts no matter how much you think that cuts into your bottom line. You want to know why? Because all of the time that I spent streaming myself having the most wins in VR boxing, you were nowhere to be found. Where were you when I was displaying my talent of having the most wins in VR boxing? You were nowhere to be found. Am I supposed to give a fuck about your AI generated animation, or was I supposed to give a fuck about your animated YouTube shorts and the reach that they have on YouTube? Was I supposed to care about the art that you make into YouTube short format and its reach on YouTube? Was I supposed to care if you receive validation for your talents and skills? Because you were nowhere to be found when I was displaying my talent of having the most VR boxing wins. When I was displaying my talent and skill of having the most VR boxing wins, you didn't give me any external validation. You didn't give me any financial compensation. You didn't give me a fucking thing. So am I supposed to care about the reach of your animated YouTube shorts? Am I supposed to care if my AI generated YouTube shorts are crushing the reach of real art on the internet? Because all of you artists are fucking assholes. Okay? How about this? How about I hate you fucking artists? I always have, and I always will, think that you're pretentious snobs, and I'm glad that I'm able to crush the reach of your so-called talents because you've never supported any display of my talents because you're smug assholes that deny that my talent is even a talent. So now that I'm able to use AI to make you look untalented, fucking good. And I'm gonna keep doing it. You wanna know why? Because you don't acknowledge my talents and my hard work. You don't acknowledge what I consider my art. If you wanna deny my art, which is having the most VR boxing wins, if you want to deny my art and you want to deny my talent and you want to not validate me and my displays of talent and art, I don't fucking care if my AI generated YouTube shorts crush the reach of your animated shorts. I don't fucking care if that crushes the reach of your actual art. And it's because you artists are fucking pretentious assholes, okay? I don't care because you artists are smug, pretentious assholes that deny my talents and my art. And if you want to deny my talents and my art and not give me the compensation and credit I deserve, then I don't fucking care if my AI generated YouTube shorts crush the reach of your animated art. Okay? I don't fucking care. Hey, Zenova. I know that's you pretending to be a woman there. I always knew you were a homosexual from the second that I saw how you behave and carry yourself. I know that your bones are thin. Your bones are this big around, Zenova. I know that your bones are this big around. I know that you're a diddler that plays Roblox. And I know that you're pretending to be a woman in my chat right now because you suck penis. But guess what? You're a pussy, and it would take me 2 minutes to make an argument that your ego would be unable to deny to you. It would take me 2 whole minutes, Zenova, who's pretending to be a woman in my YouTube chat right now. Why are you pretending to be a woman in my YouTube chat right now, Zenova? Hey, Zenova, why are you pretending to be a woman in my YouTube chat right now? Hey, Zenova, Brandon Q, why did you show your butthole on Discord? Why did you show your butthole in a Discord call, Brandon Q? Do you want to explain that? Do you want to explain why you laid sideways in a Discord call and showed your butthole to other men? Do you want to explain that, Brandon Q? Do you want to explain that real quick, Brandon Q? While we're here, do you want to explain that real quick? Would you like to explain why you showed people your butthole? Who cares? Then tell everyone you're gay. Stop pretending to be masculine and tell everyone you're an effeminate gay guy. If it's who cares, tell everyone that you're an effeminate gay guy instead of pretending that you're some sort of normal masculine man. What do you mean, who cares? We care. We care because you present yourself as your whole thing is that you're a Sigma male and you show your butthole in Discord calls. What do you mean, who cares? We care. We care because you're lying about who you are. What the fuck do you mean, who cares? Don't pretend to be a Sigma, Brandon Q. If you're gonna lay sideways, like, do you know how effeminate that is to lay sideways and then present a hole to be penetrated? Do you know how effeminate that is to lay on your side like a woman and then show people your butthole? What do you mean, who cares? What the fuck do you mean, who cares? Your whole thing is that you're a Sigma and you're on Discord laying sideways showing your butthole. The fuck do you mean? What? It's the same room that he's been streaming from for years, and the same bed that's in the background.